Hey guys, today I want to give you a different perspective on the 6 basic trig functions. Alright, so up here on the right I have my 6 basic trig functions, right? We have sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, secant, and cotangent, sorry. And so a lot of students in class will recognize over here on a circle if I have a point, especially if this is the unit circle. But if I have this point right here, then the x value will be the cosine of whatever the angle is, and the angle I'm referring to is this angle right here. All right, and the y value is the sine of theta. Now, technically speaking, this isn't entirely true. If it's a unit circle, yeah, it's 1 times the cosine theta, but really you could use this for any circle you want as long as you know the radius. It's actually r times the cosine of theta and r times the sine of theta, r being the radius. So you can apply this to any circle and find these points. Now, that's not the end of the story, though, right? Because you then go on to learn about tangent, cosecant, secant, cotangent, and you probably learned that some of these are the inverses of the others. For example, cosecant is the inverse of the sine, secant is the inverse of cosine, cotangent is the inverse of tangent. And so, you know, you might do some calculations, you might do some graphs for these, but you may not really understand what those measurements are actually, or what those values are actually measuring. And so I thought it would be pretty cool to take a look and see what they are measuring. So first of all, this blue line right here, this is the measurement of the sine, right? That is, whoops, how do I undo here? There we go. That is the measurement of the y value. Right? This red one is the cosine. Now you may know that, right? You may have heard that before. But let's keep going. This black line right here, this is actually the measurement of the tangent. And this green one is the cotangent. Interesting. This here, if you can see, there's a long orange line. This is actually the secant, the measurement of the secant of theta. And then this purple one, very difficult to see, but there's a purple one right up here. That is the measurement of the cosecant. So let's talk about these in pairs real quick again. So here is the sine. Here's the cosine. Here is the tangent. Here's the cotangent. Here is the secant. Here is the cosecant. All right, so let's go ahead and see these inverses in action. So we're going to flip over to Desmos, and we're going to go ahead and run this animation. So you have basically the exact same thing here, and I want you to see, since these have inverse relationships, as the tangent increases, the cotangent is going to decrease, and vice versa. As the sine increases, the cosine is going to decrease, and vice versa. And as the secant increases, the cosecant is going to decrease, and vice versa. So let's go ahead and play this. And as this goes around the circle, I just want you to, again, kind of try to track some of these. See if you can, you know, spot the secant, for example. And how is that changing as we rotate around this circle? Take a look at the, and by the way, the secant is the orange one. The cosecant, right? That's that purple one. Very difficult to see, but that's that vertical one. You know, how is that changing as we go around? How is the sine and the cosine changing as we go around? And the tangent and the cotangent. So there you go. Those are the actual values, or what the actual values of measuring these 6 trig functions. That's what they actually mean.